It was a crisp Saturday afternoon when my wife and I decided to finally move into our new home. After months of searching for the perfect place, we were thrilled to begin this new chapter of our lives. As we unloaded the moving truck, everything seemed peaceful. The neighborhood was quiet, the sun was shining, and our neighbors greeted us with smiles. That is, until Karen, the self-appointed neighborhood watch from the HOA, made her presence known. We had barely finished unloading the last of the boxes when Karen stormed over, her hands on her hips and her expression a mix of disapproval and authority. She introduced herself with an almost passive-aggressive tone, and before we could even shake her hand, she demanded to know if we had filled out the appropriate paperwork with the HOA. "We don't tolerate people moving in without proper clearance," Karen said, her voice cold and commanding. I tried to remain calm, explaining that all our paperwork had been submitted and approved, but she wasn't having it. "I'll be calling the cops," she snapped. "You're breaking the rules, and I won't allow it." At this point, I was taken aback. The move-in process had been entirely smooth on our end, and there was no reason for this sudden confrontation. Still, Karen seemed set on causing trouble. She pulled out her phone and dialed the police. Her eyes locked on us as she reported suspicious activity in the neighborhood. The officers arrived within minutes, and we patiently explained the situation. Karen stood there, arms crossed, as the officer began asking us for identification. That's when my wife, who had been silent up until that point, stepped forward and handed the officer her military ID. The moment Karen saw the ID, her smug expression faltered. The officer, a seasoned veteran himself, gave Karen a pointed look before turning back to us. "Everything checks out," he confirmed, his voice laced with understanding. Karen's face turned pale as she stammered an apology, but we could see she was mortified. The officer gave her one final warning about harassment before walking off, leaving Karen standing there, utterly speechless. It was clear that Karen had underestimated us, especially my wife's unwavering sense of duty and the power of her military background. After that encounter, we never saw Karen again. The neighborhood was peaceful, and we settled in without further issue. However, every time I think back to that day, I can't help but smile at the irony. Karen thought she could intimidate us, but in the end, it was her own actions that froze her in place.